Carolina. Essentially, we did not get the results that we would have liked in New Hampshire, although she did do better than Yang in the popular vote, and of course Deval Patrick and Michael Bennett. And she, even though Tom Steyer got about 1,000 more popular votes than her, he didn't get any delegates. And it's funny because after all of this is said and done, everybody talked screaming Tulsi should drop out. And it's funny because there are 4,750 delegates, 3,979 pledged delegates. You have to get 1,991 delegates to actually win the primary in the first round. And Tulsi right now is tied with Tom Steyer for 6th place after everything is said and done. And that's important to realize because basically if Tom Steyer doesn't do well in South Carolina and Nevada, which I think he'll probably do well in at least Nevada, maybe South Carolina, but or excuse me, reverse that. I think he'll do well in at least South Carolina, probably not so much Nevada. And when you talk about the fact that unfortunately Andrew Yang dropped out, Deval Patrick's no longer in the race, Michael Bennett's no longer in the race, all these people who outspent Tulsi, in Tom Steyer's case, definitely outspent Tulsi. All these people who have not had to deal with what Tulsi said to deal with are dropping out like flies. Now, although Tulsi Gabbard has spent very little money, she's somehow still here. Although Tulsi Gabbard has been smeared over and over again, she's somehow still here. And even though Tom Steyer has had quadruple the amount of coverage, if you want to include the debates in the town halls that Tulsi Gabbard has had, somehow he's only able to beat her by 1,000 votes. You know, even though Yang, mad respect to him, I do hate that he dropped out. I really wish we would have stayed a little bit longer. But even though he has had, once again, more debate coverage, town hall events, and raised more money and outspent Tulsi beat Andrew Yang in New Hampshire. When you consider all of that and Tulsi's still here, why the hell would she drop out? That's dumb. That would be stupid for her to do so. it really would. At the end of the day, she's seeing a steady increase in her support. Not only online, but on the ground, not only in New Hampshire, but in South Carolina as well. And I imagine that support will grow over time. Will it match Bernie's? We'll find out. But it would be dumb for her to drop out of the race when there are 1,990 plus delegates to win. Or actually more than that. You need 1,990 to get over the 51%. There's over 4,000 delegates to win. So it's just ludicrous. It would be ludicrous for her to drop out. So I do want to talk about what I believe happened in New Hampshire. So I want to open up with just being very clear that there was some chicanery afoot. Brett Fairchild, thank you very much. From what you have seen internally, do you still feel Tulsi will hang on until the convention? Would love some campaign insights. I do believe that Tulsi will still hang on to the convention. They're adjusting where they need to adjust, including, like I said, we're going to try to get me to South Carolina as soon as this weekend, so I can do some work on the ground where other people wouldn't necessarily be as effective. They're working on Super Tuesday as well in California. So she's definitely going to be able to hang on to the convention. So I do want to talk about the fact that there was some chicanery afoot. First of all, in New Hampshire. I'm not going to go into the details because I'm going to go into the details on another video. But in the areas, remember the AccuVote machine that I was talking about that nobody else, seemingly nobody else in the country wanted to discuss because New Hampshire has always had a history of for the most part, pretty accurate and conclusive voting. The exit polling in the areas where this machine was used, as I said, was way off. Way off. And I mean, Bernie and Buttigieg's case, I think it was off as much as 12%. for the exit polling. So that's something I'm going to delve into in a different video. But that's just, if Bernie can be cheated like that, then there's absolutely no way that Tulsi couldn't have votes taken away from her to keep her out of the delegate range. So there's that. There's that reality. But also there is the reality that the debate. So before the debates, before the debate and the town hall event, Klobuchar was tied in some cases, maybe ahead by 1 point in some cases, and then behind Tulsi in many other cases. That debate, when she took out Pete Guaido, P.D. Herman, Mayo Pete, Buttigieg, that put her over the top. Many people that we talked to on the ground say, "Oh, you know, we like Klobuchar." And I was saying telling people like, "Yo, man, Klobuchar is killing it. Klobuchar is showing out here, and the debate is what put her over the top." Now, who do we know usually experiences the debate bump when she's included? Tulsi. So the debate, and we have to take into account this. The week before elections in New Hampshire, somebody referred to it as Christmas in New Hampshire, basically, because they go to every single event as much as they can. They'll go to every town hall. They watch every, CNN town hall. They watch the debate, obviously, beforehand. And that is when most of the state is watching. And so with that, Amy Klobuchar had her best showing in any debate at the most pivotal time for her campaign. She went from being polling at 4 or 5% to shooting up to fourth or even third place in some polls, and ended up finishing third place with several tens of thousands of votes by the time it was all said and done. And most of the people that we talked to attributed that to the debate. That is why it was so important for people to speak out about what we had saw, which basically with nobody was actually polled by the time we got to that point. Remember, we got fairly lucky that Yang got into the debate, but Tulsi made the donation requirement and then they just stopped doing polls. And this is democracy. When you have, and then what was even more interesting was how many Trump voters supported her. And they were like, we want to vote for Trump, and we would have voted for Tulsi if she was in the general election, or we would have loved to see her debate Trump. We actually have a lot of respect for her. We don't agree with everything. It was very interesting to see, man. The Trump people were the nicest people to us. It was, well, obviously the Tulsi people were, but the Trump people were so sweet. They were so nice. They were just generally, they were like, man, it sucks with the like one guy talked to me and was like, hey man, it sucks what the Democratic Party is doing to y'all. We see how they tokenize you. And then he immediately went to say, I don't like that Trump does the same to some black people in his campaign. I don't think that's right. He said, I agree with the First Step Act, which Tulsi Gabbard actually had a part in doing. The First Step Act was, Glory, thanks for the super chat. There's a lot of love coming to Tulsi from Yang Gang online and in person. It's nice to see that in the wake of New Hampshire. I'm concerned about Pete Guaido though. Mechanical Chuck E. Cheese face ass. Man, that's so true. That's so very true. But the Trump supporters out there were very, very sweet, and they were not, a lot of them were telling me, yeah, my husband or my wife actually switched to independent so they could vote for Tulsi in this election. And it also can be said that basically every town hall that Tulsi did like translated directly to a vote for Tulsi in that region. And that's a great thing. And there would have been more people had she gotten the fair coverage that she deserved. And I do got to say this, if you're a Bernie supporter and you participated in the smearing of Tulsi Gabbard, congratulations. Because you are the reason that the establishment has 41 delegates as compared to Bernie Sanders. Congratulations. Well, somebody's like, oh no, Pete only has 21 delegates and Bernie has 20. That's the lead. No. We've been talking about this, and for some reason everybody wants to pretend like this isn't reality. But now you're figuring out why Warren won't drop out, why Bloomberg is trying to buy off Super Tuesday, why Biden won't drop out. They're pulling their delegates as we speak. And where there's only, where there, 20 something, 28, 27 delegates in New Hampshire that aren't super delegates, 41 in Iowa. You got, another several, like maybe 20 something or 30 in South Carolina. Like, yeah, that's some pretty relatively small numbers, but guess what? Every time Bernie gets 10, the establishment will get 15, 20, 30. And if you didn't spend most of your time, because there are a lot of people who are not going to vote for Bernie, and that's just a reality of the situation. And that's okay, right? There are people allowed to vote wherever they want to vote. But see, there are people, way too many, that were like, hey, yeah, my choices were either Tulsi Gabbard or Amy Klobuchar. My choices were, Tulsi Gabbard or Donald Trump, but because I'm a registered Republican, I just decided to go ahead and vote for Trump in the primary in that regard. So there are a lot of people who were perfectly silent. They were silent completely as she was being kept out of the debates and just told her to drop out. There were people who were silent or even participated in smears that stopped her traction. So in a situation when she didn't make the debates because of illegitimate polling requirements, in a situation where they should have been speaking up, they were silent. And they allowed Klobuchar to get the momentum. You allowed Klobuchar to get the momentum. Question for everybody. Would Klobuchar have gotten that momentum if Tulsi Gabbard was part of that debate, or do you think that it would have been Tulsi Gabbard? Given Tulsi's history of ending careers, do you think that it would have been Klobuchar to get that momentum or Tulsi? Because Klobuchar was right where Tulsi was. Guess what the difference is? A CNN town hall event and a debate on the week where New Hampshire is paying the most attention to their elections. That's the difference, bro. And so now if people are reaping what they sow at this point. I know people want to say, oh, Bernie's winning. He's winning the popular vote. Nah, bro, I'm sorry. I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan. I'm not naive. Yeah, it would be nice to say that. It would be nice to believe that. But even if we didn't count the fact that these people are going to pull their delegates together, Bernie is losing. Bernie is losing because he's competing in a rigged system. He's losing by one delegate to Pete Buttigieg, for crying out loud. And because Tulsi supporters have no problem being honest whenever Bernie is being smeared, but Bernie supporters are, at least the most prominent ones I should say, are either silent, or they were too complicit, or they participated actively when Tulsi was being smeared. And now you're dealing with a situation where Warren gonna give her votes to Bernie Sanders, her delegates to Bernie Sanders? No. But Tulsi could have stopped votes from going to Warren. Tulsi could have stopped votes or delegates from going to Amy Klobuchar. And if, to be quite frank, if Bernie would have spoken out in support of Tulsi, it would have helped him in the legitimacy of his, people being questionable about his convictions. They've been questioning his convictions and his principles when it comes to who he's loyal to. It would have helped him overall, especially because I'm not sure how many Tulsi votes Bernie will be getting. I'm not sure how many Yang votes Bernie will be getting. And some of that has to do with his supporters, and some of that has to do with actions of his own. And it's sad. If Bernie would have pushed the Securing America's Elections Act, if people would have pushed the Securing America's Elections Act, yeah, would it might have given Tulsi a little bit more support? Yeah. But if we got it passed, and if it was widely discussed, would the question of election integrity have been addressed before Iowa? Probably, because Bernie has that type of platform. But instead, you have to be reactionary. So Mitch Osborne, Biden said he was going to lose at the debate to give people permission to vote for Klobuchar and Pete. I'm not surprised. Niko, what do you think Tulsi should do to overcome the media bias and shut out Americans are so easily led by corporate media? We're talking some strategy behind the scenes. Probably something very similar to what Bernie did in 2016. Just an all-out social media blitzkrieg. That, I mean, she's been pretty good on social media so far, but we're going to try to go even harder in that department in various ways. But she is not dropping out, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But even if it wasn't about winning, which I assure you it still is, considering that Super Tuesday isn't here yet, and like I said, there's over 4,000 delegates to win. She's not about to drop out because somebody has 20. That would be idiotic. It's laughable. I'm sorry. It's just hilarious to think about that. Like, they were like, oh man, she should drop out with 20 delegates. Because I mean, bro, she's tied for 6th with Steyer, and I think Biden is beating her by 1 delegate. So she's one, and we know that inevitably, because Biden's spending so much money, he's about to drop out soon. Then Warren, a memo just went out saying that she ran out of money. How is she going to run her campaign if she ran out of money, people? Out of curiosity. So these people have been able to outspend Tulsi in various ways, but you can only outspend her for so long because of the way she runs her campaign. It's very grassroots, it's very volunteer based, except for at the very, very, very top. And then even with at the very, very top, it's still her family for the most part. It's her family and people that she's already known who are taking a pay cut because they believe in a message that is bigger than 2020. They believe in a message that is bigger than I win, you lose. They believe in foreign policy. They believe in election integrity. This is something that is beyond the scope of this presidential primary election. Yeah, maybe if it was purely about winning and that's it, she would drop out. Maybe. I don't even know if that's true. But it's also for her, even if she was in the lead, it was always going to be more than about winning. You see what happens when Tulsi Gabbard isn't on the debate stage? Did y'all watch that horrendous debate? The moment they weren't worried that Tulsi was going to be able to come back on the debate stage and call out every lie they talked about at that debate regarding the military-industrial complex and foreign policy, they went full on war hog. They didn't care anymore. Every single candidate, except for Bernie, went full war hog. The moderators went full war hog. Why do you think that was? Because they believed that Tulsi couldn't get back onto the stage and call them out. Tulsi's not going to allow that to happen. She'll keep busting her ass, and she has more volunteers now than she did before because so many people are pissed off about how she was treated that they are not backing down. People are donating still. She hit her fundraising goal. Even after New Hampshire, she still hit her fundraising goal. This message isn't going anywhere because it's bigger than 2020. And there's still a long, long race. And plus, she now got her secret weapon on the squad. So even if she didn't do as well as she would have liked in New Hampshire because of Yang dropping out, it's pretty big. That's big for Tulsi. It shows that her campaign is, stronger than what Andrew Yang's is. And she beat him there. Now, he was winning before he dropped out. He was beating her before he dropped out. But then ultimately, she beat him in New Hampshire. And then he dropped out. So even with all the money and energy and media, not that he experienced levels of media blackout similar to Tulsi, but not as much, not as much malicious content as Tulsi had to deal with. even with that, Tulsi is still in the race and actually outperformed him in New Hampshire. And he might have been worried that she was going to outperform him in South Carolina. And at this point, the perception is if you can't beat Tulsi, there's no way in hell you can be the nominee. Now, a lot of Yang supporters have gone to Tulsi, and a lot of them have gone to Bernie. But it seems like a lot more have gone to Tulsi, to be honest with you. And that's big. That's big for her, especially as she goes forward and carries on the mantle of UBI. So sorry I didn't do my update yesterday. Like, it's been a long couple of days, a lot of traveling. I got to get ready, to do a proposal for South Carolina and cover. I got to do some coverage about what happened in New Hampshire. There's a lot of stuff going on. So thank you for being patient. I appreciate what you do, Niko. Keep fighting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But understand that, once again, if you're a Bernie supporter and you participate in this dumbassery, Tulsi should drop out. You don't even, it's crazy that you don't even, they think that Tulsi is the one who stole votes from Bernie. Last time I checked, not only did Warren steal votes from Bernie, but she stole delegates as well. How many of them were propping up Warren as the second most progressive in this race? And that message resonated more than what people thought. Y'all kept pretending, and Bernie himself kept pretending Elizabeth Warren was an ally when she was never going to give Bernie those delegates, ever. So even if Tulsi did lose, it would be because she lost to Bernie after accruing delegates. If everything was even, if the progressive movement treated her the way that they should have, the way that they treated Elizabeth Warren with kid gloves up until recently, then she would have given those delegates, and she will give those delegates to Bernie if she loses. Congratulations, because now that lead is becoming, by the end of Super Tuesday, if Warren, if Biden, if Klobuchar, who I imagine will stay in, and Pete Buttigieg, if they all stay in and Bloomberg takes enough delegates, they're going to pull those together, and that lead will become so insurmountable that Bernie will not get 51%. I hope you all know that. And you should fucking count your blessings that Tulsi took out Kamala in advance. Because if Kamala was still in the race, she would also have taken delegates away. But even now, because Bloomberg came in, is kind of replacing a Kamala effect. Every smear that has stuck, every neoliberal smear that is stuck because progressives pushed it, is led to where you are right now. Whereas where currently Bernie Sanders is on an island by himself. So even though, unfortunately, we were not expecting Klobuchar to get that type of debate bump, she did get one. So we were wrong about that. We were right about Biden getting obliterated in New Hampshire. So we were right about that. I was right about Klobuchar getting a bump. I wasn't expecting her to get that type of bump over Tulsi, but we did predict that she would do much better than people thought she would in New Hampshire. Let me think. I was wrong about Yang in New Hampshire. I thought that he would do much better. I was kind of surprised that he didn't do better. And I can't really explain why he didn't do better, to be honest with you. I saw a lot of Yang support out there. Maybe he didn't spend enough time there. It's quite possible. Let me think. What else did we predict? So I said that Yang and Buttigieg, excuse me, not Yang, that Buttigieg and Klobuchar be interchangeable between 2 and 3. That's basically what happened. Buttigieg got 2, but that's questionable right now with the exit polling situation I'm going to talk about later. Let me think. That's basically it. And I said, this is of course barring election integrity issues, and I predicted that AccuVote machines would be problematic for not only Tulsi but for Bernie as well, and that's exactly what happened. So we were about 70% correct. in New Hampshire. The network was. But like I said, I just didn't anticipate Tulsi not getting a town hall, then not getting a chance to debate. Like, they didn't really. She could have made that debate if they would have just released a single fucking poll after. But they waited until the debates. Excuse me. They waited until the town halls, until the debates. Then they released some polls where Tulsi was doing well, but it was too late by then. She couldn't get into the debates, and Klobuchar got the bump instead. So, but we're moving on. I feel like I missed somebody's super chat. Will Yang endorse Tulsi? I have no idea. It would be nice though. It would be nice. I heard something about AOC would be okay with public option, but I got to see the context of that. But if that's the case, hey, are y'all surprised? If that is the case, would you really be? No, listen, we don't know if she's okay with the public option. She would have to defer to the caucus first. Come on, don't be presumptuous, guys. Yeah, well, it ain't just too late for Tulsi in Nevada. It's too late for everybody in Nevada. Pete's people are in charge of the election security there. Okay, so Tulsi is smart not to spend a lot of money there. Of course, Allison, it's my absolute pleasure. We're not done yet. I actually am much more enthusiastic about this than I look. I'm just legitimately, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. I have to get up early to do some Tulsi stuff and to update you all with everything going on. Tulsi will not get older black voters. Nina would. But okay, so I got to be very, very clear about the black vote in the general election. I'm be real with you. We are not that. It's important to get our vote, but because of we live mostly in states where it's a guaranteed victory for Republicans, like so South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, or it's a guaranteed victory for Democrats. Not North Carolina, New York, California, like where we live, where we live in areas enough to completely control the outcome of a given election. For every vote, Nina and Tulsi would be great VP picks for various reasons, but if you want to take votes from Trump, which you need to win, because Bernie's coalition, Bernie right now is underperforming his all RCP polling average. That's not good. It's not good. And you need somebody who can bring in those independent voters that Bernie doesn't have anymore. 1 in 10, and this is a modest poll, says 1 in 10 Bernie voters voted for Trump. 1 in 10 could mean victory or defeat in 2020. And because Bernie participated in and pushed an impeachment that led to a 49% bump, or not bump, excuse me, 49% approval rating, which was about an 11 or 12% bump for Trump, he's feeling it right now. He is. He felt it in New Hampshire, whereas a lot of conservative independents would have voted for him. He's showing that he's willing to play the Democrats' game, even if it's illegitimate. So it's hurting. It's hurting him. Tulsi's talking to Dave Navarro. Oh, is that tonight? Oh, damn. I feel bad now. Yeah, go talk to Tulsi. Go watch Tulsi's video. All right. Appreciate the love, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.